Okay.
Let's call this meeting to order at 9:04. What I have. Yeah, okay, approval of the agenda. I know that Brittany and I approved of it. Anybody else have comments?
That's all I need.
That's it? You good?
Can you correct the patrons of the Callahan House, and we can talk more about it when we're on that topic. But that is what I asked specifically listed on.
Yeah, patrons of Callahan House. I'm trying to get away from the use of the, unless it's like a Callahan House thing, like the patrons program. But it's just like Callahan House.
I can
You know,
understand
that's
that for certain things,
yeah.
but I know that, friends of the Longmont Museum, friends of the senior center, friends of the Longmont library.
So you want- Okay,
So
so
I
the
think
is part of the name.
It's kind of part of it, it is one.
Okay, that's fine, fine. That's fine.
And it's consistent with what the city, throughout the city, they're doing.
Okay.
Makes it more working form.
I think we're, yeah, I think
Okay.
we're just
Karen,
consistent.
Gotcha, yep.
Alright,
I didn't think so.
any other comments on that? Do we need approval, do we need a vote on that? We don't
I don't think so.
Approval of the previous month's minutes, that we do need an approval for. I just have one, I was way behind the 8 ball getting a look at the minutes, and when you come down to, I think it's 8C, it's C, chapter CJ of PEO.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, I was behind the ball too, didn't.
I did that in. Yeah. It's the only thing I noticed, it's not a big deal.
That was about which
8:4, I think it is.
chapter?
Chapter is CJ.
CJ.
C period, J period, right?
Right,
Or
it's
is it just
CJ.
CJ?
It's P period O. Period O period.
I'm 8C.
That's everything I got. Anybody, anything else? Approvals of minutes.
See more additions in there. So under 5A, Ken suggested that wrap-up readings be done by Longmont High School theater student. I think that's helpful to just include Longmont High School, because then it also suggested, and I just wanted to make sure Longmont
Oh,
High School
I see what
was
you're
included
saying.
as can be suggested.
Okay.
Which one are you talking about?
5A down
Oh,
before
yeah.
that last sentence.
Yeah, so it'll be done by a Longmont High School
Yeah.
theater student. I think it's important to include that.
And I know they have theater students at Skyline as well. It's a dramatic arts program. So whatever, one of the high schools.
And then with constant, it's not comment, right? It's constant contact under
Mhm.
5C.
Name
Yeah, that already,
I
yeah, that already got.
Oh, I'm sorry, I must have had a full version and this one just that. Under 5D, did one last little addition was I asked if the auto house would be available for the December 12th open house, and Brittany confirmed yes. I think it's important to note that because the auto house has been closed for the public's viewing for a while, and to have that in there is
I
helpful to
confirmed on the
identify.
previous meeting, it's been ready since after that.
Let's see, I think that I asked that in the last meeting because the things weren't moved into the
Shed.
I do think that we talked about, I could be wrong, I could be misremembering, but I know we talked about the Christmas tree, if anybody had one, so maybe it was the last one that we said,
Yeah,
let's go for it.
okay.
I'm not 100, I know we talked about the tree.
It's just notable because it's when we finally cleared the auto house and made it so that we can make it available for the public to view again. So just-
And people are interested.
And they've been asking,
Yeah.
so. And then in the 6A, if we can include historic before furniture is restored. That's
Is that all they did?
specific, that is specifically what it does, it is historic furniture that he restores.
Oh,
and
historic.
it's the buffets, not just this big and small buffet, so it's both of them. And
I think we were debating about this one.
well, okay, so I understood to take pictures of both and provide them to him for estimate, and that's what I did.
Okay.
So, and then I stated that he's available after December, so not beginning of December.
Okay.
So he's available after December. Next one is 6B.
My one is the same one.
Oh, okay. And do you have 3?
Yep.
Okay. And then do you have?
I just open houses.
Okay. So I had suggested the board rotate just primarily for the Santa House, but if you want to leave it for both, then fine, but I just said, let's see if we can rotate, because everyone wants to be in the same.
I think we talked about it at both.
So,
Saying we wanted to rotate as well.
and Newman, Connie Newman, do we have the correct spelling of her name in there? N-E-U?
I think
N-E-U?
it's two N's. Yeah.
N-E-U.
N-A-N-N.
N-E-U-M-A-N-N.
And
2 N's.
Uh-huh.
And it's not W, it's not any
Yeah,
W.
got it.
It's U.
That's spelled like
N-E-U?
Yes, N-E-U.
spelling.
Doesn't matter so much, but do you care if the date and time of the year-end board event be included, just saying board selected 12/9/13?
So it's a private event, it probably isn't.
Not so important. Do you have the correct spelling of Diana's name in 6E?
2 M's.
No, it's 2
Two
N's.
N's.
I did that.
And then I
So
think
many drafts going around.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they were gonna, and the city council was gonna interview candidates, not review, but interview. Is that wrong?
No, you're right. They were gonna interview.
Instead of review.
They both interview and
Yes.
review, so it
Yes.
doesn't.
It's helpful to understand that the city council also interviews some matter of practice. And then the last thing was, 8A. I think regarding the motion, we just need to say, and it was unanimously approved, because we always need to show action.
What does it need to say?
Yes,
It
it
said
was
it was
unanimously
approved.
approved. So there was a motion, there was a second, and it was unanimously approved.
Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected, as amended?
I move and approve the minutes as
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry. Okay, we are on item 4, public invited to be heard. There isn't anyone here that I'm aware of. So we're gonna move on to old business, the digitized scrapbook, still on the agenda.
Yeah, no updates.
No updates.
On that, Rachel's been out for a little while, no chance that she's back now, so.
Okay. Eventually we'll get back to
Yeah, probably.
Hopefully
The
January.
holidays, yeah, I think so.
Okay, under old business, we're on B, Maureen, updated video.
Yeah, we all had a review session, whenever that was, a couple of weeks ago, and Jamal's working on the updates, so no real, yeah, just kind of keeping on through that process.
Great.
So,
Perfect. Okay, patrons of the Callahan House.
I think we're going to look at this again in January with the new board, and we'll be moving forward with the idea of rolling it out in the spring.
Okay, so let's just leave it on old business. Okay, the holiday decorating, new Santa tree ideas. I know there were, Cindy, you had some.
Well, I was just going on what, I guess I combined two things that the board was talking about. One was kid-friendly and the other was age-appropriate or era-appropriate,
Yeah.
Victorian.
Mhm.
But that's just an idea.
Yeah, you had some cute stuff.
Yeah.
Ornaments you bought.
Does anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I still have the tree, and we had thrown out a bunch of ideas the other night, we were sitting here
I
talking.
went on the,
And, because the tree is smaller in the wedding room, the bride's room.
Mhm.
This one's a little larger. So, some of the ideas we tossed out were ladies' gloves, and hats, and feathers.
That's
and,
fun.
Gosh, what else? We were all,
Antique teacups. The teacups anymore are selling for very inexpensively, and we can actually find those at thrift stores and whatnot. And if I have experience because I use them in my garden. I've actually, so I used them as garden decor in with my fountain and everything. And if you use Gorilla Glue on the antique ones and glue them together, and then you put
A hanger.
yeah, but you have to, you put I can't think of the word, I apologize. An epoxy in the center that looks like tea or coffee, and then put the hanger in it, and then we could hang the antique teacups on a tree as an ornament. And we could also use antique silver spoons. They can all be mix and match because, you know, that kind of stuff, that was a whole
pearls,
process.
crystals, I mean, all those kinds of old things would be more Victorian.
Vintage.
Yeah.
Vintage stuff.
So those are the things we kind of talked about, and maybe we can, through the year, look for them. We have them hiding at our houses, and so don't go out and spend a lot of money on things like that, but
No,
see what we can come up with.
but I was thinking, you
That
know,
was what we were talking about.
bits and pieces here and there. If you can pick up something for $1 or $2, that would be great, you know, that type of stuff, if you see something,
And roses and nosegays and
that kind of
those
stuff.
kinds of things, hankies.
We also thought about old hankies or even cookie cutters and old aprons that you can make a tree skirt out of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of different ideas out there.
Popcorn, cranberry strings, but not the real stuff, because they make.
Yeah, but they can't be those super cheesy ones either.
Oh, come on. The cheesy ones.
That look like cheese.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so that's something to be thinking about throughout the year as you wander around.
is that tree more, that's not the same tree necessarily. Is that
No,
the
I think
same
you're
tree?
talking about a different one than what's in the bride's room.
I'm just saying, I have a bigger tree that I was gonna give you guys, or bring here to start with. I still have it. I will hang on to it. So it's a little bit bigger if we wanted to decorate more in that room with like the hats and the gloves and the pearls and that kind of thing. So it's
Just a thought process. We were just throwing out ideas.
I like it.
Right, sure.
Yeah, so I guess in terms of this item for the agenda,
I brought examples of what we would use for Santa tree, because I thought that's what we would.
yeah, I mean, I think we're open to
Also-
any
also
changes that we want to
trying
make
to
over
get-
time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so I went looking for historic toys, and kinds of toys that they had in that time. Dolls, wooden figurines, pull toys, stuffed animals, automata, tops, puzzles, whirliwigs, and thaumatropes, horse games, Jacob's ladder, juggling balls, and ball and cups. So I went, I'm sorry, Marina, I didn't mean to.
No, you're fine.
But I have some pictures, because I just went online looking so that I could find some things for us to look at and consider. So here's an idea of a skipping rope. This is actually online for sale, and I'm tempted to just buy it myself because it's so cool. It's made of the jute.
Right.
Jute, and it goes through the wooden handle, and it's one of the fancier ones with the metal ends, and of course ties. See if we can make this larger.
How did they use it on a tree?
Well, I would just go ahead and wrap up. I would go ahead and kind of loop the jute together so that you can see that it's a rope. And then I would just put the whole thing
On the tree.
And tuck things inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are things we should look for too.
So here's an option.
What did you call that?
It's a skipping rope, jump rope.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, and I can kind of put some explanation of what the kids, what they had. You know, the really more simple ones were just wooden handles, and but the more fancier ones had the metal ends, and this one does. And I just thought it was just beautiful and true to the time for children's toys. So I'm thinking Victorian toy soldiers. Those might be options too. We could look for these, and they're online, and they're really, in my opinion, reasonably priced. But you know, we could take these original, you know, they're authentic, and put like a fishing wire around it so that it's not harming the piece itself or damaging the historic integrity of the piece. But then that way we can hang them on that tree.
So this is the tree that we'd use for where the Santa would be. So if we put Santa out in the auto house, this tree would move out to the auto house too? Is that?
It was where Santa was,
Okay.
They also had marbles. They used marbles, and they weren't all made of glass. A lot were made of clay. So of course they were different sizes because they wouldn't accept. So and of course then the marbles that they did have were made of this glass and had swirl in it. And having just little clusters of those put in little bags.
Little bags, yeah.
It could become trees is an option, it's a thought. And again, all of these are just some thoughts I thought I'd bring to you to share.
Blocks, yeah.
Building blocks, Victorian building blocks, which included everything is intricate, and this was really more expensive set with different types of sizes and things so they could build structures, and then more simplified with letters and animals on them.
Right.
But these are also all available online. These were really nice, we could take them and
Oh
we
my
could
gosh, I'm just thinking of all the building blocks that I just got rid of from my mother's not that long ago.
then they went on to, yeah. And then we go on to tea sets, you know, we're children's tea sets. And
Oh, those tiny little
Teeny
ones.
little
How
tea
cute
sets.
things
Get
are.
rid of my little.
and we could literally hang them on the
Yeah,
tree.
you really could.
Yeah, so that's a thought. They have some little ones too. Then we have the rolling hoops. Do you all remember or have you ever seen what those rolling hoops look like?
Yeah.
So that's that. That was a very, very popular game. The Victorian Home steps. It was huge. That was a big thing at that time, apparently. I don't want history look up in here, you know, but these are some examples of from the 1920s what the kaleidoscope looked like. And it's pretty amazing that, that was such a huge toy that, so having some kaleidoscopes on the tree would be a nice example of true toys in that time. Rocking horses were also very popular, so if we could find, now not in real life, but if we could find, these were real life ones from that time, but if we could find smaller little ornaments or something.
I have one that's real
similar.
appropriate, not
Yeah.
period, but it looks.
But if it,
Right,
yes,
yeah.
but it gives that idea of,
Uh-huh.
okay, this, because it was a very popular toy in that time. Victorian dolls, this is interesting, fun, you know, they would make them out of fabric and so simple things like that. I mean, we could make
Yeah.
You know, it's I remember making those actually in home ec years and years ago. But yes, and Victorian dolls' houses. That's a little more. It's a little trickier to find something that
Yeah.
we might have to look for a small ornament that looks a bit like a spinning tops were big.
Yeah, spinning tops.
So these are original period spinning tops, and so we could again using fishing line because it's very careful and it won't damage the item to be able to hang these true pieces, historic pieces. It's an idea. Toy theaters, that's a hard one too. As it goes along with the dollhouses, so I have to find examples. How much rope? How many of you remember doing this? Right?
Whirligig kind
It's
of.
a whirly, yes, exactly. And you put an image on one side of the circle and another image on the other. And when you're swirling it and you're twisting it,
Oh,
it combines the two. It's a
neat.
Use them together.
image. And then you put one on a stick. And so we could easily make those. Cup and ball was a very popular game. The most simple ones were simply just wood. The more intricate ones were actually painted. So again, you're just using a little bit of line and through a ball. That was a big game. Victorian footballs. This is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Not that we would ever, but if we found like a hacky sack.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a brown,
This gives that.
like that would look like like a true brown old football. That's what they looked like, and apparently they were really awful to play with when they were wet because they were having to hurt very badly. And sometimes they would just they didn't have leather. They would just use rags and tie them together to make a ball. So that was a problem at that time. And then Victorian board games. So I don't know, obviously, if we wanted to have one under the tree or have a few Victorian, board games under the tree as well as the ornaments on the tree. That would be fun. It's an idea. Jacob's Ladder. I think everyone's probably familiar with what Jacob's Ladder is like, but it is historic in nature. And these are some examples of options that are out there right now. And yeah, you could easily just place them on the tree. And I think people would like that. I've seen a different version of that before. Of course, they will have seen more modern versions, but and then you have kind of the actual handle that just back and forth and changes your image. So those are all. That's just all my history, my research, and my sources. But anyway, those are the images that I thought I'd share with you all and ideas of children's toys of the
Take it off.
Yeah, great. Thank you for
Figure
sharing
it
that, Karen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are really interesting.
So it's something for food for thought.
Yeah,
or
good ideas.
Sales tree for future.
Lead you somewhere.
But I think I'm gonna buy that junk rope because it is too. I want that thing. If we're not gonna have it at the house, I want it.
So there you go.
So those are my ideas. Okay.
So those are good ideas you can build on throughout the year next year. You go into an antique store or whatever.
If we start out with an idea in January, so.
Maybe by December it'll crystallize.
Is it something that you
Or
want us to
Go ahead.
just
Take an
write
action
to
on
you
or-
and say, here's an item, because I know you mentioned that the city can't reimburse anyone for any purchases. Should we expect that whatever we do, we're just gonna purchase on our own and donate, or should we give the information to you so the city purchases them? How you wanna proceed?
I think it depends on the item. I mean, if you find something in a thrift store and it's like a little one-off piece, probably just pick it up if you're okay with that. But if there's something that we want to order, like there's that, I can't think of the name of the company, but they make vintage style wooden toys. You see them in like gift shops and stuff. But if we want to order like 6 Jacob ladders that look vintage, I think things like that we would purchase. But if you happen to find something random in your, shopping, whatever, maybe pick it up if that's okay. But so I think it depends on the item.
The Kiwanis makes wooden toys, and that's their
Yeah.
big fundraiser.
Right.
Not the Skyline, the other Kiwanis Club. So that's an option too.
Yeah, I mean, we can like
to
put
see
in
what
an
they got.
order with them,
Yeah.
even to say like, here's what we want, can you make something that goes with this, and there's,
Yeah.
you know,
I think that's a good idea.
a bunch of little matching rocking horses and a bunch of
Mhm.
whatever.
Exactly. That's kind of a win-win.
Yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of their toys at this point, they're pretty big. So to play with.
But they could go under the tree.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
games.
there's that.
or maybe they can
Yeah.
make us a custom
Sure.
order for this, I don't know,
Possibly.
but,
I'll check on that.
okay. In terms of this as an agenda item, does it need to remain under old business, or is it just something we wanna keep in mind over the year, or?
I think it should be part of something to touch base with the new board at the beginning of the year, just so everyone has for the new members, they have the
Everybody's on
opportunity to
board.
heads
Yeah,
up of,
literally.
okay, keep your eyes open.
Okay, so just leave it for now.
And then drop it.
And then
Yeah,
drop it
yeah,
to future
yeah,
agenda items
Yes,
maybe.
yeah.
Okay, anything else on that? Future restoration and preservation, I don't remember why we had it. We moved it on purpose.
Yeah, it's been off and on and around a lot.
Right,
throughout the
it
year,
keeps
but
moving, hopping
we
around.
looked at the sheet a little more at the last meeting and got a couple folks from here that I reached out to. I haven't heard back, but I reached out for a quote from I don't have the names written down here, but the two groups that we talked about for the repointing, and also because the quote that came back from Empire was over 10,000, we need to get 3 quotes and go through that process anyway. So
So white and
working on that, yes, thank you. So yeah, working on that, a quote for the repointing, and we did confirm with Kevin that the original quote did not include the auto house, so we have a quote for the auto house and for the mitten house, and we just combine those and, you know, kind of do both at one time, but, so yeah, that's, you know, and then Karen's working on, I think,
Yes, he's-
connecting us for the table.
Yes, he's gonna get, the estimate to me here shortly. He got very busy with, Thanksgiving and.
Sure.
Sure. Antique work then,
Okay.
so, and I'm expecting it actually by the end of this week.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So then, yeah, whatever information you get from them, if you can send that to me, and then I'll probably take it from there, but, yeah, so.
Brittany, can you share it with me so I can then get working on the grant process through the requesters to make sure that I have the money for that?
Yeah, we'll see what the number is, and then I think we'll kind of go from there. And I know that your requesters group and the Sansere, if I'm saying that correctly, were interested in kind of teaming up to help us with funds for that project, for this project.
It's a whole.
And then we did get a quote back from Empire for the restoration of the woodwork on the second floor, which is under 10K, and so we're just gonna move forward with that. So they're gonna be working on that, I think in January, mid to late January. Just all of the, like the base, just the woodwork in general upstairs on the second floor, yeah. Mostly it's in like the hallway area, but just it's real beat up there, and so they're gonna work on refinishing that, so that'll be nice. And that also includes the repair to the wall, which was something we've been talking about for a long time, the plaster. So, yeah.
And I don't know, did anyone, I haven't found somebody yet, but I really haven't had the time to look, for the floors. Remember, that was something that we all mentioned, let's see if we can find, someone who could give us some advice about how to care for the floors and how to go forward.
Yeah, that was the other thing on
Just keep
the
waxing
list of items that we decided to prioritize. So I did get one, you know, there was somebody out here a while ago that they came out and cleaned the carpets and the upholstery and the tile, and then had somebody also come and talk to us about the floors, and their suggestion was to refinish them. And that was kind of what started this. We have one potential person to work with, but I would like to get some other opinions on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is on the list also.
So we can maybe keep that on for, in January. I think.
Yeah, this
That's
is gonna
Cut
be on
out.
for a little while, and those are like
I
the
know
key
this-
projects.
I know this
that we
is
had
under,
just talked about, and the stained glass was the other one.
Old business, but what about the light up in the that's kind of hanging.
Yeah, that's part of what Kevin's working on.
Okay.
It's taking a long time for some reason, but, so yeah, we know somebody else that can, we provide a quote for that also.
I'm sorry, that's just one of my, I'm like.
Yeah, no, that is one of the of the items that we picked up from the list, that's
Okay.
on there, so, yeah, and then the stained glass. And then, I don't know if, now that the auto house the storage is built and the auto house is cleaned out of all of that stuff, if we want that to be its own agenda item, like a revamp of the auto house, or if that,
I think it
we
should.
wanna keep that under this,
I think
or,
it needs to stay on the restoration preservation list, because again, what we do is continue to look at that and then prioritize what on that list needs to have attention next. I think it's, like, while that
You'd
might
like
be,
an umbrella?
while that might be,
Mhm.
that might be then an item that is picked for, like in January, for example, that, okay, we're gonna tackle this year. That's probably a good
That
idea.
keeps
but
it
it's-
visible.
keep it on the list, and we need to just keep future restoration, preservation on whole business.
Right.
But let's earmark that we want to address the floors and we want to address the auto house.
So we just add it.
so it's just
So
part of the list.
it's part of the
that we're
list, but-
on. Okay, I have a feeling it's gonna end up kind of becoming more of its own project, but until we dive into that, it's
Until we
fine.
decide that.
Yeah, I think each one kind of becomes its own.
Okay,
Anything else on future restoration and preservation? Okay, we're gonna move on to December open houses. Last week and tomorrow.
yeah, so the Santa open house was good, it was very chill, I don't have like a better word for it. So that was good, everybody got in quickly and had good feedback of people leaving the event. The registration process was a little confusing for people. It wasn't anything different than what we did last year, and all the messaging was the same, but for whatever reason, this year a lot of people really struggled with the fact of getting a registration for each person that was attending, parents and anybody, and children included. So, yeah, I think I would say about half of the people of the groups that registered did not register their full parties. So I did a lot of emailing back and forth with people, and some people were fine, some people not so much. But anyway, I think we're gonna review that process for next year and maybe do like a lottery or just make some changes to it to make it more accessible for more people, and make it easier for those that are registering. So we'll see what that looks like, but yeah. And then in terms of metrics from the event, so we had 207 people attend, last year was 225. And it was kind of steady throughout, the hourly, so 67, 51, 35, and 54. I don't know that since it was, they registered per time slot, I don't know if that's too
Was that
important to know, but just for
67
your 67 in the first hour, 51 in the second hour,
Okay.
35 in the third hour, and 54 in the fourth hour, but I don't, yeah, you probably don't need to put that, Cindy, but just so, and there's a couple breaks built into that too, so I don't know that it reflects much useful information, but we had $106 in cash donations, last year was 167, and then we had 3 email signups. Last year we didn't have the email signups available for this event, so anyhow, so successful overall and much more smooth during the actual event, although the registration process was less smooth than last year, so, it's a toss up, but overall, I think it went really well, and so,
Is it possible to include one more little sign up in each of the time blocks? I mean, things went fairly smoothly, and do you think that the opportunity to add just one more family
I
sign
think
up?
it'll depend on what we use as the process next year, so we'll see what that looks like, but I don't want to, we were still a few minutes, 10 or 15 minutes behind at a couple spots, but it still felt like flowing smoothly the whole time. So I don't want to push it so that then we're like backed up. I think how it went this year is what it should look like. So I don't want to necessarily add and then be, because it's not like we were at any time, like somebody was with Santa the whole time. It's not like we were at any point empty,
And it wasn't like you turned people away either.
No,
Process.
No, I mean, there were people on the waiting list that like didn't get registered, but nobody came to the door and was like, hey, we just wanted to show up. So, yeah, I think it went how we want it to go in terms of like using the time slots, but.
If we could kind of get it up to like 230, and you said there was 260 the year before?
225 last year,
225,
207 this year. So not too far off. We did have a couple cancellations day of,
Yeah.
and then we had like 6 groups no show, but then we added a couple groups, so
It all evened out.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Do we have a number of people or parties that were on the waiting list that we did not get to accommodate?
I could pull that information, but
Just curious for
yeah,
thoughts.
I don't have it off the top of my head.
How can we possibly expand?
Yeah, I think we're considering all of that in terms of like a process for next year. Some sort of lottery potentially, or like you just need to register all the kids and then there's a limit to the number of adults that can come, or I'm not sure exactly, but they're trying a new registration-ish process for Santa lights also, so maybe we can like compare the two and see how it's gonna work. Yeah.
Piggyback on that or something.
Yeah, so
Did you
yeah,
book him
but I
for next
took
year?
what's that?
Did you book him for next year already?
Oh, well, I mean, I'll give him a little time to breathe, but
As
as long as
He's still
Santa.
He's still Santa, you need
As
to
long as he's still, part of the city next year, I'm sure he'll be interested, but
Well, I see your point. Let's get it while the getting's good
Yeah.
before he
Yeah.
I think like this year, in January or February, we set the dates for Santa and then I reached out, so I'll give him a
Yeah,
couple
that
months,
works.
but
Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think
he'll
we're
be
gonna
fine.
move to a contractor next year.
Oh, really?
So when they
Okay.
have to drug test in.
Oh, yeah, yes, and
Yeah.
Drug tested like Santa.
Right.
Well, so, yeah, just the way that his
Yeah.
employment works, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, overall, I think other than the registration process being difficult for people, it was a successful event. So, yep. And then for Thursday, we're 4:30 to 7:30, so if everybody wants to be here around 4:15, and it's just a regular, that's okay. It's just a regular open house, but we'll have the auto house open, so I'm thinking, we'll still have somebody at the front just checking numbers and handing out the handouts and with the donation box, and then people kind of disperse to one person in the auto house. So I think we'll just kind of have the messaging everybody to like let people know to go to the auto house, but people have them go out and around. I don't want like these side doors open or anything. So yeah, we'll just try to like word of mouth, and maybe I'll have some signage at the front also, just letting people know that that's open. Everybody will not miss that.
apologize. I will not be there because I'm
That's okay.
doing our Questers party, which goes from 8 until 3 or so. So
Is everybody else planning to attend?
I'm planning to be there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And Betsy and I will be here also, so we'll have to, that'll be fine.
Feel to
plenty.
hate to
No, it's okay. So, yeah. There we go. Oh, and the piano player too, the pianist is gonna be here, for this one, so that'll be cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Is there heat in the auto house?
Just asking.
Yeah.
I'm always cold.
It's heated.
Now everything's going,
Yeah.
how much party can we do?
And we do need to kind of rotate our positions, I think.
Yeah, I think that's good
Because
to
we're
do.
getting
Sounds
out there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
On one time. Okay, anything else on the open houses? All right, the 2024 annual report. I don't know that there's anything really to do about it, except, it's pretty well put together. I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at it and had suggestions for edits. I took it pretty much off of, I used last year's spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So the figures aren't here yet, of course, till the end of the year, so.
Well, I guess,
There you go.
what did you want to do as a process too? I had just a couple of little corrections, but do you want me just to, do you want people just to send those to you?
I
Or
think
do we
send
want
it
to
to me.
discuss it now, or, okay.
Just send it.
And then maybe at the
Because
next
we've got time
one
to
we
work
can,
on it.
finalized.
yeah,
And we got that last
I
time.
guess you're not gonna
Yes.
be here at the January meeting.
I
though.
had, it was separate item that I had. If you need it, let me know.
Okay,
I could just
Well,
pop it over.
so I guess then after everybody sends you whatever they want to, you can compile something and send it to me and
I'll
I
do
can
that.
share that in January?
Yep,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks Karen.
Okay, we're on to new business. restricted areas, the encampment.
Yeah, we kind of just added that as a separate item.
Yeah.
Instead of having under the tables and chairs storage, because
Right.
it's become its own
It
project.
is.
But, yeah, I think we're just kind of waiting on parks.
I got nothing for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah.
trying to get with parks to see
We're
what
into
we
the
can
cold
do.
season, so
Exactly.
try not to see it so much
Right.
now.
Yeah, there hasn't really been issues, but there'll
Right.
definitely
Oh,
there will be.
They'll be back.
And some thoughts that we have right now for behind the new shed is maybe just some like security lighting. We've kind of reached out about that. And maybe even just like putting boulders on the ground back there so nobody's like
It's not
sleeping, but we don't necessarily have to block it off completely because we still want to be able to access that for like maintenance of the plant that grows there and the shed itself. And
Right.
so we're thinking maybe lighting and uncomfortable ground situation
Yes.
for back there. And then over here, I think we're still talking about like what the fencing options would be for this shed area and the stairwell.
Yeah.
So we all, after the meeting last month, went and took a look at that and put some ideas together. So I think it's just a matter of getting with the right people that can help us move forward and see what the best options are.
Before anything actually happens, can we discuss again?
Of course.
And see the example.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's where we're at. We're just
Yeah, we're at the cogitating stage.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to club survey responses.
So we got two
Yes.
responses back. One of them is, the first one is from Bridge, and they just kind of turned in a quick handwritten thing, but as you can see, pretty simple, but they're happy with the space. And then there was one that, the next one is an online one that came from the Page Turners Book Club, formerly Torca Book Club. Same group, different name. But overall, everybody is, happy. No specific,
outstanding issues
no
to-
feedback really.
to address.
But so those are the only two responses that we got. I did want to share the information that PEO JH chapter, which has been at Callahan for the last 2 years, is no longer moving forward with being at Callahan House. Unfortunately, this was the group that we had some issues with their setup and some damage that was continuing to occur after their meetings, minor, but they wanted a very specific setup that just wasn't really working with keeping the space safe and keeping the members safe, having doorways and exits and things open and people being able to move safely throughout the space. And so we were trying to work with them on that. And we're trying to accommodate that and kind of come to a middle ground and thought we were in a good spot. Last couple meetings have been fine, but then after this last meeting, we found some damage to the piano because of people moving furniture and things like that. And so I let them know that that had occurred and that due to that, we needed to go back to the row setup, which they had previously used before their new, or before this year's president. And their response to that was to no longer meet at Callahan House. So it was unfortunate, yeah,
Response was what?
was to just no longer meet here anymore. Which I think
And
is
how many members do you have?
minor, a scratch, I mean, we should probably buff it out, but it just was several occurrences of damage to the walls and furniture because they continued to move things around because the setup just wasn't really conducive to being able to conduct a meeting without constantly moving furniture, which isn't safe for the members or for the house. And that was like what we were trying to reiterate. And
How many new members?
30-ish in that chapter. Yeah.
That show up.
So it's unfortunate because PEO has such historic ties to the home and that their response was just to,
That chapter,
yeah,
let's be really,
that chapter.
I don't want to blanket PEO.
Nope,
Which
Just
was
that
the
chapter.
chapter?
JH. Yeah, so, and I had even, we met with them, like, aside from their meetings to talk about the setup, and we were really trying to accommodate that and just continue to have the same issues, so I feel it's a bummer.
It is.
But on a brighter note, CJ chapter is planning to start at Callahan House, probably in May. So they'll reach out after the holidays and we'll go through the process, but it's a PEO group and
Our president mentioned it
yeah, we'd love
at a
to
meeting the other night.
have another PEO group here.
She's on board, she just
Sure, yeah, after the holidays,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I understand, we've got plenty of time to get it sorted out, but, and that'll be our first opportunity to kind of have somebody go through the new process.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, PEO is very fitting, you know, but I think just to, remain objective, to put everybody through the club application process. But yeah, we're excited to have another chapter of PEO join us, so.
We're excited to be here.
We're thrilled.
And have your other clubs all, are you still waiting on responses from clubs or?
Yeah, we've had some people, like Bridge is renewed, a couple of the book clubs have renewed. The one book club that was kind of iffy, I'm still not sure, but as far as I know, they're planning to renew. Haven't heard from them yet, but we were kind of giving people till February really to like get all of their dues and everything finalized, so.
Dare I ask, has Connie contacted you at all?
No, but I'm sure I'm not, yeah, Connie's always on it, but I'm sure it'll be fine, yeah. And Questers is different than the rest of the club since you guys don't meet on a monthly basis, but
We do meet monthly. We just
you don't meet at Callahan House monthly, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just verifying.
Yeah, no, I'll work, and if it gets to be late January and I haven't heard from people, I'll reach out, but, you know, yeah, they've had all the information since, I think, late October, and it'll be fine, yeah. We're still in December.
I know, unfortunately, Connie had a death.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of stuff going on, and plus she's been moving, so I'm
Yeah.
just verifying that things didn't.
No, well, I'll reach out to anybody if I'm not hearing back, but, yeah. So as far as I know, everybody else is planning to continue. Yeah.
Okay.
Clubs.
So that's it on clubs. Moving on to item 7, items from staff.
Is that what,
Oh.
is that what we're on, items from staff?
So under that, I've got the programs revenue report. We talked about seeing this on an annual basis in December, or I guess after all programs resume for the year, whenever that happens. So that's on the very back of the packet. So yeah, you can see overall the, well, really, I guess it was like 6 programs that we did this year, but musical performances are put together. The reason for that is one of them was offered as a free program for the public, and the other one was a paid registration, and so we put those together to make sure that the cost of the free program and the paid program was covered in
Gets
the
reflected,
registration
yeah,
fee
right.
for the paid program. So yeah, overall the Murder Mystery Dinner was the most successful,
Mhm.
and as I mentioned, most of these, you know, we're not raking in the dough for these.
Even your craft day, your Valentine's.
Yeah, Valentine's Day tea,
I mean,
you
that's
know.
pretty good.
And
That's
that one,
good.
the nice thing about this one is that was the first year, you know, I had to buy like 36 pairs of scissors and some things that we can continue to
That you
use
won't have to
over
do
time.
again, yeah.
So that program is expected to make a better profit this year because we'll have some things already on hand.
I already saw that you sent the registration stuff out.
Yeah, and it's already, that one's already like 3/4 full, so I expect it to sell out again.
Excellent.
And then the watercolor, so the 2 art programs, the reason that one was so much more successful than the other was just registration based. We had, the one was sold out and the other one was about half sold, so that's
Yeah, I
kind of
don't
the
think-
difference
And
there.
macrame, I don't think she could take 23 people, like when you see the numbers,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
that's a lot for her
Yeah.
class.
Yeah, I think they were, it might have been like 25 and 20 was the max registration or something like that. And there's also, one of the instructors takes a higher fee than the other, and so, you know, it just, but in terms of supplies, the split was the same. And then, yeah, Murder Mystery Dinner was great, and I think next year we can even, if we do catering a little bit differently, we can even probably make a better profit on that. But that was better than I
Yeah,
had
that's really good.
initially anticipated, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
The out of town fee helps. Or the
Non-resident fee.
non-resident fee.
Right.
It does, yeah, I
It
have to
does.
say. And then, yeah, the musical performances, it was fun for people to do that. You know, the profit margin was very small, and we had some the last minute changes to that with the alcohol and people not, I mean, I guess the people that didn't show up, they still had to pay, so. But there were some last minute changes to that one. So yeah, I don't know if we'll do that the same in the future or not. It was cool to have that happen here. I think most of the people that came were all either like friends of the musicians or families of the students, which is fine, but it felt like it was more of an offering for like a specific group of people rather than the community. So I don't know if there's a different way to do that in future, but yeah, it ended up being a lot of, it was actually kind of a lot of work for
For what you got.
For
Yeah.
$18.
Yeah, there was just a lot of specifics involved, and the artists were great to work with, but there were a lot of particulars.
Well, I really do like the variety that you put together, so that was really
Yeah.
well done.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
It was fun to try some of this stuff out and see what works. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
And we're using the house for the community. which
yeah,
is-
and that's the point,
the
is
bottom
to get
line.
people in
Getting
a new
different
way. And,
groups
Yeah.
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
Alice would be happy.
yeah.
Okay, anything else on that? Items from the board, anybody? I've had nothing. Okay, future agenda items, we need to do any changes to any of that? The Callahan House book, the new book, are you still seriously interested in putting together something? Bless you. Go for it. Okay. I have nothing else. Does anybody else? I'll entertain an adjournment.
I so move. I'll second.
It's 9:58.
Record
We
time.
are adjourned.
And that's the time.
9:55.
Okay.
Before you leave.
Thank you, Karen.
I will.